Season 10 of the FIA Formula 2 Championship, and what a time to make our debut in the Americas as the cars hit the Miami International Autodrome for the very first time. It was a challenge of which drivers, which teams could learn the circuit the fastest. We saw some teams like Campos Racing getting barely any laps in practice after their problems, but that did not stop them in the fight for pole position. Martin Stenchon going very well at the first round. Road didn't look quick, but with ART Grand Prix celebrating 30 years this year, they can continue that celebration with Kush Miney taking the first ever F2 pole position
of 2026. Hello and welcome to the F2 Sprint here in the beautiful heart of Miami. We are racing around the 5.412 kilometers, 3.364 miles of circuit, 16 corners, and today's sprint race will concede of 23 laps. But tomorrow's race, the feature race, 32 laps, and of course those DRS zones down that long back straight and heading down into that first corner. This, of course, the first weekend the Formula 2 have raced in North America in the championship's history, so it should be quite interesting to see how this unfolds. Of course, sprint race time, no pit stops. It is pure sprint racing all the way to the end. A little bit of a delay to the start of this race here this afternoon. About 23 laps. This should get quite exciting. And of course, reverse grid pole. And to talk you through more of it, it's time to hand it up to the F2 commentary team.
So we're watching, not situated in Miami, 30 degrees air temperature, track temperature already in the mid 40s, and it's not even 10 a.m. So we've got plenty more heat to come today. But also very much looking forward to seeing these FIA F2 cars race for the very first time on North American soil. Amazing to have them here at this Miami circuit. And I think, as Colton Herta mentioned in pre-weekend interviews, this circuit almost made for Formula 2 racing. We've got tight technical sections, we've got long straights, 3 DRS zones. I am expecting fireworks on circuit today.
It's almost like this meant to be, isn't it? Colton Herta joining us this season from IndyCar, 10 years of Formula 2, and we are here for the very first time in Miami, and Canada is coming up next as well. But first, full focus on the Formula 2 sprint race, this round 2 of 14 of the season. And here is how it'll look. Let's go from back to front. We're going to have Rafael Villagomez, who has a 10th-place grid drop for both races. He goes off the back with Kian Shields alongside him. Roman Belinsky didn't really get any laps in practice, so qualifying was an extended session for him. He's going to be on row 10 with Sebastian Montoya. Then we have someone who is fairly familiar to this part of the world. Emerson Fittipaldi grew up around here with some of the archers alongside him. Mary Boyer, now in the Aston Martin colours, is going to be on row 8 with Trident Strongment. Colton Herta, the home hero, goes off row 7. What can he do from there? Noel Leon next to him. Problems for him in practice that we had Senapol, Ichapulazak, and Dino Beganovic just missing out on that sprint race top. Kush Miney will lead us away from pole position for the second time tomorrow. Rafael Kamara is alongside him on row 5. Then we have Martin Stenchon and Alex Dunn in all Road in Motorsport, row 4. Next up, Gabriele Mini, the Italian Alpine Junior, is on row 3 with Nico Garone from Dynamic Sport Racing. Joshua Dirksen is going to be on row 2. We saw him take the sprint race win at round 1. Ollie Goethe looking for a first podium is next to him. And Lawrence Van Houten is on the front row. He took a podium last time out. And our winner from the beach race, looking to go back-to-back, is Nikola Solov. And let's start with Campos Racing and Nikola Solov. What a performance from them kids to be able to go out there and get themselves top 10 qualifying with this. You can see Franco Colapinto, 500,000 people watching him drive around a Formula 1 car. I'm sure he'll be keeping an eye on his countryman, Nico Garone. But that shows the support that we get in this part of the world for our drivers. 8 drivers from the Americas, and now the American fans getting to see them up close for the first time.
Yeah, you mentioned 2 things there. Campos will get onto that in a second, but Nico Garone for the fellow Argentine of Colapinto there, a very strong qualifying 6th place. And I think that the VAR, the Banana Sport Racing team, especially with Garone, have trimmed out that car. They've laid the wings flat. I reckon they're going for straight line speed today, because yes, yesterday in qualifying, top of the speed traps as Nico Moroni, both at the speed trap at the end of the long straight down towards turn 17 and also over the start-finish line. So that suggests to me that quick in a straight line, so he might be either hard to pass today or have some straight line speed to pass other drivers. Campos, well bumped down to earth. They won the feature race with Solov last time out. They joined this round, second round of the season, leading the team championships. They were both limited laps in practice and then struggled in qualifying just about for Solov getting to the front of the field in this sprint race.
There's been a lot of talk and a lot of excitement coming in to this weekend. Let's hear what F2 and F3 CEO Bruno Michel had to say ahead of the weekend.
Well, the good thing with F2 is that you always have surprises, and so I'm expecting the teams that started to perform well at the start of the season to do well. But it's the same car than last year. It's the same material as last year. There's nothing new. So for sure, the teams we know the ones that did well last year. Let's see if it's going to be reshuffled a bit this year. And same thing for the drivers. There are a lot of strong drivers doing the second year. There are very, very strong rookies as well. So don't ask me what I'm expecting in terms of who's going to win or who's going to do well. But what I'm sure is that we're going to have some great racing, and we're going to show the American fans that F2 is a fantastic championship.
It really is indeed. These are your next F1 stars of the future, as it's been proving already this season. Casey, Michel mentioned some surprises there yourself. What surprised you the most from what you've seen so far in practice and in qualifying getting to this week?
Well, we've seen a mixed up order. It's not been a consistent run of pace this weekend. We saw that the high-tech's actually very quick. Herta topped the practice session, the only practice session we had on Friday. And then unfortunately for Herta and Beata, both down and lower than the field. Herta started 14th and Beata 17th. I mean this with respect to Kushmani, but it's potentially a surprise pole position. He was very fast in Australia, one of the most experienced drivers on the grid, and will be looking to push and try and take a win. However, when I dove into the stats and the sectors and the speeds after qualifying, I saw that actually Kushmani wasn't all that fast in any of the sectors. He was just one of the drivers that put a lap together. 18th fastest in the first sector. He was then only 11th fastest in the second sector and 8th fastest in the final sector, which says to me that one, great execution, but two, actually not exceptional in any area of the circuit. So consistent, yes. Rapid, no.
I think what you've been saying there has a lot to do with this very unique Miami layout. Let's hear what race winner from last time up, Joshua Dirksen, had to say about exactly that.
It's really interesting. It's a mix. For me, it's a bit of a mix of the high speeds of Jeddah with the low speeds of Baku. It's like you don't have really medium speed corners, or high speed or low speed. But it's a very interesting combination. The asphalt is very similar to Jeddah as well, or to Melbourne. So I find it a very interesting combination, and I'm looking forward to explore this.
I think we all are. And Colton Herta was amongst the drivers who said, this circuit is almost built for F2 cars. They've got 3 long DRS zones, some fast sweeping corners, but then that real congested section coming at the end of the second sector. What stood out for you so far, Chris, from what we've seen in practice?
Well, you're absolutely right there, Chris. This circuit is a circuit of 2 halves, really. You've got 3 long straights, there's 3 DRS zones, a nearly 1.4 kilometre weaving straight, a flat out section from turn 8 all the way down towards turn 11. The big back straight, 1.28 kilometres, 0.8 miles, go between 16 and 17, and then a fairly lengthy straight down towards turn 1. But punctuating those straights, you have the medium high speed first sector, which goes through 1, 2, and 3, then that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 section at the end of sector 1, which is all medium high speed. One corner leads into the next, we need to lean on the car, use the aerodynamics, high downforce helps you there. But then the long straights, low downforce will give you straight line speed. So it's very much, you have to play one against the other. You can either go low downforce and be slower in the corners, fast on the straights. And we've seen both work. I've already mentioned Kamara, slow in the speed traps, fastest in the first sector in qualifying by 2.5 tenths it was. So that says to me that Invicta and Kamara have decided to go for a high downforce setup to try and keep an advantage they gain through the corners. But then you've got the likes of Verone and VAR, who are thinking maybe we'll be stronger on the straights, and that will mean that we're less likely to be under pressure to be overtaken, and we can make moves. So none of the teams know what's going to work best, because these cars have never been here before, and only one 45-minute practice session isn't long enough to really give the teams a proper handle on exactly what's going to be best. So they're going to be learning as they go this weekend. But reminder, can't really change the cars after qualifying, so they're kind of set with what they decided with at the start of that session.
Oliver Oakes, team boss over at High-Tech. He's got two very experienced drivers underneath him in Ratomo Miata and Colton Herta. But Colton Herta, new to F2 when he came to Australia. Here's what Ollie Oakes had to say about his debut weekend.
One of the things we spoke about going into Melbourne was sort of don't make it hard for yourself. And I think after FP, he kind of realised, F2 bites pretty hard. But I think it was quite impressive what he did, even in quali. You know, he had, I want to say, 1 or 2 push laps in FP. He hasn't done Formula 3 there, so to put in the lap he did just under so little prep was impressive. And I think in the races, I think from the team side, what we saw was really good. That Saturday was obviously a whole new experience for him, first time racing in F2. I dare say very different to IndyCar. But I think how he drove on Sunday, taking that learning and delivering a really strong race was impressive. I mean, a lot of people said, did it surprise me? And I kind of think, no, not really. Like, since the moment he's been in the team, he's just been amazing to work with. And you can see it. He's talented and he wants this. And that almost makes it easier as well.
Good to hear from Oliver Oakes. I mean, we know what he was talking about. Colton Herta showed immediately at the pit lane in practice that he was here for business. And I think he's accepted the status of his position in this championship very well, isn't he? He knows that he's part of the Cadillac team. He knows the experience he has. And he's really just been using that to his advantage and not let any outside noise get to him so far.
He's in a good way. He's actually a bit of an outlier in terms of the Formula 2 grid. Most of the Formula 2 drivers are trying to forge a career in motorsport, trying to get themselves as a professional driver. But Colton Herta's been doing that for years in IndyCar. He is a professional driver. I imagine he's probably being paid to be here, which is unusual for Formula 2 drivers as well. Most of the drivers are looking to stake their claim and get those sort of drives in future. So Herta, eyes on the big prize of Formula 1, potentially with Cadillac in years to come, needs to prove it on the Formula 2 scene. But as Oliver Oakes mentioned there, Formula 2 is a very different challenge to IndyCar.
It really is. We saw Martinez Stencho on there. He stopped at the end of qualifying, so I'm sure those reconnaissance laps that he's just had would have been an important thing to him, just to make sure everything is all okay. But here we can see a look at all the drivers getting ready to go. And Piers, one of the things around the paddock and worldwide sport today, sadly, has been that Alex Zanardi passed away at the age of 59, a former F1 driver, of course, someone who all the fans around America will know very well from all the success he had racing over there, and someone who did not let injury get in the way of his passion of competing, not just in motorsport, but in sport in general. Then went on to become a 4-time gold medalist in the Paralympics. I mean, not just to these young drivers, but to many people inside motorsport and outside motorsport. He's been a real person to look up to, hasn't he?
A genuine legend of motorsport and sport in general. How many people can say they've been at the absolute top level of different numbers of sports, and considering he had such adversity, true legend, an absolute legend away from the circuit as well, a true inspiration. And really sad to hear of the passing. I'm sure that a lot of people will be racing with his memory this weekend.
Absolutely. And Italian driver Gabriele Mini starts on P6 on the grid. So I'm sure one of many people who's going to be carrying his memory in this one. Looks like we're all set and ready to go for that. We can say this ending on that is all our thoughts are with Alex Zanardi's family and friends at this time. Well, there we go. Piers, all set and ready to go. Formation lap, the first ever formation lap in Miami in Formula 2. I mean, put this into context. None of these teams, none of these drivers have been around here before. They've had 45 minutes of practice, 30 minutes of qualifying, and now they have to go racing around here from your racing experience. What's that going to be like for them?
It's going to be very interesting. All the teams have been on the simulators, getting prepared. But you can't prepare for situations like this, as I think there's
It looks like Kush.
Oh no!
Well,
his luck is just horrific, isn't it?
It really has been. And Kush spoke about that in his post-quali interview yesterday and said he feels he's now really found his home at ART Grand Prix and it made an example of that yesterday. He qualified in the top 10 at the first round. Then he qualified pole here, but he'll be going from the pit lane in the sprint race.
That's going to be an uphill battle for Kush. The good news is that car hopefully will be all good at the very least for him to go on pole tomorrow. But speaking about preparations, there's only so much you can prepare for. The only driver that's done more than 2 flying laps in a row this weekend is Joshua Dirksen in the Invicta. The number 2, going from the outside of row 2 of the yellow Invicta car. He's one to watch out for. Every other driver has done in practice just a push lap, then a cool lap, then a push lap, then a cool lap. He's the only driver that has the feeling of what the tyres will feel like, the medium tyre going away over 2 or 3 laps, and he's still only done 4. A reminder, we still need to do 23 of these laps in this sprint race. Track temperature already rising into the mid-40s. Going to be tyre management critical this race, and they will also find out a lot about how these Pirelli tyres react today, because they may need to use that information for the even longer 32-lap race tomorrow, although there's talk of a chance of rain.
Yes, just to clear up one thing, while we saw Nicholas Soloff going around there, he stopped at that part of the circuit in practice, and it was Rafael Villagomez's speed through there that then led to him getting a 10th-place grid penalty for both races. We're almost ready to go. I mean, what's going to be going through the likes of Ollie Goether's mind here? Only Joshua Dirksen has done more than 1 consecutive lap. They now have to go around here quickly, not make any mistakes, and deal with those medium yellow sidewall tyres going off.
This is where preparation is really going to pay off, and the preparation, the mental preparation, the visualization. And when I say preparation, it will be all of these, or most of these drivers will have been watching all of the Formula One starts from the previous years, looking at where different drivers place their cars, where the flow of traffic goes, because none of these drivers racing in this race have ever raced on this circuit. It's impossible. The only formulas that have raced on this circuit have been Formula One Academy and Formula One, basically, in single-seaters up until now. So it's a voyage into the unknown, but when that happens, it means it's very much a level and open playing field. And you can also be a bit more inventive, Chris.
Absolutely that. Now, welcome to all of you. Sprint Race Saturday. This is Formula 2, round 2 of the season. 23 laps ahead of us. There are no required pit stops in this race. However, they can choose to come into the pits and put the faster super soft tyres on if we get safety cars towards the end of the race. So look out for that one. Points go to your top 8, 10 to the winner, then 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we have a point for the fastest lap. We have Soloff there on the front row, Van Hooten, then Goether, Dirksen, Verone, Mini, Dunn, Stenchel, Kamara on his own now on row 5. Then it's Beganovic and then Trapumazak. Leon and Herta, the American, 14th on the grid. Bennett, Boyer, Miata, Fittipaldi, Montoya, Belinsky, Shields, Villagomez off the back. Kush Miney, who will be on pole position tomorrow, will start in the pit lane. We are all set and ready for a historic day in Formula 2. To the left of screen, Lawrence Van Hoopen. To the right is Nicholas Soloff, and we are going for the first time in Formula 2 here in Miami. The race down towards the first corner. Soloff leading the way, the Red Bull Junior, as is Van Hoopen there in second place. In third, we've got Dirksen in the yellow Invicta, who's come up a position and already challenging for second as they make their way through the first sector.
Yeah, good start from Dirksen. Also good start from Diners Wide. We go through turn 4, heading down to the turn, sorry, that was turn 3 into turn 4 now. Also Kamara looking like going side by side. Aggressive is Stenchel side by side with Goether as well, but impressive start from Alex Dunn, actually. I must say he pierced the gap in the middle down towards turn 1. I think that's Beganovic side by side with Kamara. So it looks like Kamara might have fallen down a couple of places.
Yeah, and this will be the first DRS, so next time round you have to be within a second of the car ahead to have that activated. Down towards the long run to 11 we go, and Soloff having a very good gap over the rest of the field with Van Hooten, Dirksen. Then we have Verone next as they come in towards this section. Oh, that's Noel Leon going wide there, now having to try and rejoin the circuit, but it's I think Stenchel who has gone by. It is Goether in that orange MP going by as well, so a mistake there from Noel Leon.
Yeah, there's a feature of this circuit. So many switchback corners, left, right means that the outside of one corner turns into the inside of another as Herta goes down the inside of turn 16. That's a bold move.
Great driving from Colton Herta. He means business in this one as he's trying to make his way through the field, going by John Bennett. And this the braking zone where I'm sure we're going to see lots of action. And the one that was catching them all out yesterday. Dummy sold by Leon on Gertha down the inside. He goes. We've got more overtaking going on at the back there. That looks like the Blue Dams of Roman Belinsky making a few places on this first lap as they cross the line for the very first time. It's Solo, Van Houten, Dirksen, Verone, Dunn, Mini, Stenchon, Leon, Gertha, Beganovic now in the middle of your screen in that blue Dams Lucas Oil livery, and he's made a place there on Oliger.
What a start from Noel Leon as he jumped on board with the man that's lost the most places. Gertha down 7, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen there. He started on the inside of row 2, all the way down at the back end, out of the points at this stage of the race, and trying to stem the flow of places. He's now got the Formula 3 champion in the yellow number 1 car of Rafa Kamara right underneath his rear wing. And Kamara's going to be using the toe now as we head down the snaking through turns 9 and 10, which are completely flat out, down towards turn 11. And that's where the positions will often be changing. DRS wide open, but DRS also for Gertha. So no advantage for Kamara at this stage, but he's having a look. Is he close enough? No, not this time. Gertha defence.
I think turn 17, that long back straight next time could be a place of defence now for Solov, because Van Houten is closing in as we ride on board with Rafa Kamara. He needs to get 3 more places to be scoring points in this one. Here we go then. This is your battle for the lead. We will have DRS down here, and this is a good chance for Van Houten to put pressure on Solov, who's looking in his mirrors all the way down the straight. We've got Joshua Dirksen there as well. Are we going to see our first real challenge for the lead? Yes, we do. Van Houten going to the outside, but Solov keeping it calm under braking there and holding position. It's now 4 for the lead, Piers, with Verone right there as well.
And let's not forget Verone, fastest in the speed traps in qualifying. He's going to be an absolute missile on those long straights. Can he keep up in the corners? That's going to be the question. High speed on the straights means slower through the corners, but when everyone's managing their tyres and everyone's getting bunched up like this, that's helping Verone get on the back of this. And this would be a personal best for Verone. We saw him race at the front of the field in the feature last time out in Australia on the alternative strategy. No alternative strategy in the sprint. It is very much that, a sprint from light to flat, light to flag.
Yeah, the Alpine Junior, Alex Dunn, is trying his best to catch in, and it looks like he might have done just that. He may be within a second here through this first sector to get the DRS of Verone, and if he is, that will be a big moment in the race for him. He is. He's 0.9 behind Verone, so Alex Dunn is getting ready to join the queue of this lead battle. Meanwhile, Solov is threatening to escape, but Van Houten has just held on for now, and I think we're going to see round 2 next time down to turn 17.
It's going to be so hard to escape drivers behind you, especially if you're the one at the front of the group or the front of the whole field. As the Red Bull car of Solov goes wide through turn 12, that won't help him because the DRS is so strong. 3 DRS zones, which will be worth a couple of tenths, maybe more each time, especially when you've got the toe as well. It may be worth even more down this long straight as we head out at turn 16 for the 3rd time. This very long 1.28 kilometres, 0.8 miles of dead straight running. DRS for everyone in this front group, apart from Nicolas Solov. It looks like Van Houten's closer.
It looks like he's about to challenge. He will. We go to the outside. Will he drive all the way around the outside there? They're going side by side into turn 17. Van Houten not quite able to get the move done. Dirksen almost going into the back of him there. And Dirksen now might be able to challenge into turn 1 because, yes, DRS is going to be open once again. There you see the flaps on the rear wings open. Dirksen looking to the inside. Van Houten covers him off. It's still as you were, but Piers, Alex Dunn is now right there in 5th place as well.
Dunn could be a dark horse in this one. In qualifying, arguably should have been on pole position. Fastest in the middle sector, was only second fast in the 1st sector, made a mistake at the last corner, which cost him a lot of time, and he was still only a 10th or so from pole position. We know how quick that road in is as well. We've seen it over last year. They're very good at preserving their tyres, and that clear air he had for a couple of laps, that would have allowed him to just nurse this tyres in a little bit and catch up the back, bring them in slowly. That may mean he's got pace and longevity in this race, and he's right on the back of Verone now. The question is Verone too fast in a straight line to allow Dunn through? But Dunn just about has the pace. I think Verone is actually struggling to stay with the front 3. He's dropped off the back a little bit now, just clinging onto the coattails of the DRS from Dirksen.
Yeah, absolutely right. Look at the 5 of them all there for the lead. It's 1.8 seconds then back to Gabriele Mini, who has Martini Stenchon to company Dino Beganovic, the last of your point scorers so far as they come under the bridge then and round the very crucial turn 16. You have to nail this because then you're onto this very long straight piece.
I spoke about tyres. All of the drivers are in uncharted territory now. Although I mentioned at the head of the show, Dirksen, the only driver that did 4 laps consecutively flying. They're now heading into their 5th lap, so very much now a guessing game as to whether these tyres, these Pirelli medium compound yellow sidewall tyres, will be able to last the distance at this pace. Some drivers would have taken it easy at this stage. Maybe Gabriele Mini in that MP is conserving his tyres. Actually, he's been passed by Stenshore. They go side by side through the last corner, and Stenshore looking to make a place and get up into 5th place.
Yeah, he wants to have a look at his teammate there, but Gabriele Mini are holding on there in P6. And look at this, Piers. 6 different teams in the top 6 on our very first race. Here's how it's done.
Yeah, let's have a look back at this. Keep an eye on the pink Alpine right of shot. You see Dunn in the 15. He goes down the middle. Goethe in the orange car. Poor launch away. Then gets done by Dunn and also by Dirksen. Then also by the other Alpine livery car of Mini. So the orange car of Goethe, that's how he lost his places. It's an example exactly of as soon as you've got momentum going backwards, it's hard to stem the flow. You can see the poor start there from Goethe. He actually was looking for a move around the outside of 2nd place. Eventually slotted into 4th. How did he get back past? Dirksen just with a nice cut back at turn 1. Ideal start from the front of the field there from Solomon.
And this was Colton Herta move on John Bennett, who was almost found himself in the barriers, but good clean racing from both of them. Almost sounded like Peroni at both started. That's one of the primers, Montoya. Yes,
yeah.
it is.
And Montoya lost a piece of his front wing end plate getting involved there as well, so that's why he's down at the back of the field. Although we've seen the front wing end plate's not that important as we've got battling between.
He slipped here because Dirksen is right there, and they're losing touch to the leaders as well in terms of DRS. Are we going to see Dirksen absolutely send it at turn 17? We are. Here comes the Paraguayan driver, and now it is Joshua Dirksen up into 2nd place.
He did so well to get that stop, did Joshua Dirksen in the number 2 yellow Invicta Racing car there, taking 2nd place. He was squirreling around on the brakes. It's dusty and dirty offline, but Van Hoopen was looking for a move back at turn 1. Can't get it done. Dirksen's now going to be the one. But if I was Solov, seeing that bright yellow Invicta car in my rear view mirrors, I would be a little bit more concerned than I was with Van Hoopen. Van Hoopen, great job in qualifying, but hasn't really been setting the timing screens alight at any point this weekend. And Dirksen, as I mentioned, he's the most experienced man around here, and he's only gapping a little bit to Van Hoopen and closing that gap to just within DRS range, which is critical for Dirksen's race. If he's fallen out of DRS, that means he has to bridge that 2/10 or so gap, and he's got that. So I expect this gap to close for the lead, and Verone's still hanging around at the back of this trio.
Yeah, almost Solomon was listening to you there, Piers, because he just did a purple first sector. But Dirksen with that DRS is closing in, and now we are going to have this battle reform for the lead, but this time it will be Joshua Dirksen making the attack on Solov there, and you can see he is in a real hurry as we come through this section. I think that was too fast from Dirksen, and now he's going to be the one under pressure.
Yeah, that was it. Dirksen pushing really hard through the end of the 2nd section through those technical 12, 13, 14, 15 corners. But you can see when you push too hard, you lose a bit of time, and then you go from attack to defence. And now Van Hoopen looking to do what Dirksen did to him 1 lap ago, and actually he's going to get past before we even get to the braking zone. And Van Hoopen in the Trident, the 24, Dashman goes back to 2nd place, and all the while they fight, Solo runs away at the front of the field.
In the background, it was Gabriele Mini defending as well from Stenshore, so those two continuing to fight. But that a mistake that could be quite costly for Joshua Dirksen. Will have to try and get the gap within a second once again of Solov. That is still the case for now, but they are hovering at the gap there, Piers, of just dropping outside. It's around 0.8 at the moment, so a good sector here from Solov could change everything.
We're only approaching 1/3 distance now. We've still got a fairly long way to go in this race, and I'm keeping half an eye on Alex Dunn there in 5th place. He romped up to the back of this quartet at the front of the field, but then it's dropped off. I wonder whether Roden had been on the radio to Dunn and said, look, they're fighting hard. Let's just keep our tyres in good check and see where we are as we get to the final third of the race, because that's how often do we see drivers fall down the order at the end of a race on one set of tyres if their Pirellis have cried enough, especially considering track temperature mid-40s now as well. These Pirelli tyres will be falling away towards the end of this race. We cut back down to Goethe, who's now down in 12th. He's looking for a move on the inside of it for Pudersack. couldn't quite get that done.
Well, I think they both go wide.
Okay, then that's DRS is looking quite powerful for that. Keep that back to the rest of the race. We're good here.
There you go, playing the long game. And it's almost like they're saying we don't want to be leading. Come the final laps there.
Yes, Belinsky's had a really good race. He's gone from the back of the grid up to 13th. He qualified 20th place, so up 7. He was a driver that got basically no laps due to technical issues in practice. So again, came into qualifying blind, but in this race, he's come alive, and then he's now looking to take positions of Goethe. Goethe started 3rd, Belinsky 20th. They're now fighting side by side for position. We've also got that John Bennett getting involved there. Who's that with, Chris?
Colton Herta, so looking to return the favour. Bennett's still fighting with Herta, who's in this pack, being led by Intra Pubazak as well. St. John and Mini have also swapped places for P6, but they are dropping further back from that lead 5. And interesting radio messages going to the likes of Dirksen there, the Invicta Racing team, looking to play the long game. And I think you're right, Piers, with Alex Dunn, that could be the case as well, as we continue to watch this battle being led by ARTs. To Sanapol, Intra Pubazak with Goethe behind in the orange MP, and what a move from Ollie Goethe there. That one caught out Intra Pubazak, and that will be a place made for 11th.
That was tasty from Goethe there. Just snuck up the inside in that long 6, 7, 8 complex of, well, I say corner, there's one corner, but split into 3 on the circuit map. And now Belinsky was able to take positions. Actually, it looks like potentially Intra Pubazak got an issue. He's slowing well down. As now we head down towards turn 11, they pass Intra Pubazak, so they fight for position. They've all increased 1 as, unfortunately, the second ART is out of this race, or will shortly be.
The DRS is looking down, boys. It's looking good. If you can get yourself set up well, then we will see challenges, and we're seeing fantastic racing in Formula 2. Our first time in Miami, and we are putting on a real show here as well. 5 different teams inside the top 5 places, and they're all within around 2 seconds of each other as we ride on board with the American Colton Herta.
Now Bogdanovic has got past Noel Leon as well. That's for 8th and 9th position. So the Dams have got good race pace, because don't forget Bogdanovic qualified just outside the top 10. He started 11th, in up to 8th place now. So interesting to see how, because it's our first time here at the Miami International Autodrome, the teams and drivers, the pace that we saw in practice and qualifying may not be exactly representative of what they can do in the racing, because again, they've never done a race round here. This is the first time a Formula 2 car has ever been racing around this configuration. We now head through that technical end of the first sector. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is this last little left flick before we head through the kink of 9 and 10, which are flat out sections down towards turn 11. The DRS is once again open, and it's now 5 drivers for the lead of the race, all with DRS. It's done actually quite, maybe done just outside DRS, but he's still very much at the back of this group, and now actually challenging for the lead. So a couple of laps ago, it was Van Hoopen who was losing positions from second. He's now applying the pressure to the Campos of Solov for the lead.
Yeah, Solov there, looking like he was really fighting with the car coming through turns 11 and 12. And look at that, once again, it's a big slide. Took a bit too much curve, I think, there, Solov. And this could be it. This is Van Hoopen's chance to go and take the lead if he wants it. DRS will be open. Are we going to see the challenge coming in from the Trident driver? We saw him on the podium last time out. Now he's looking to get back there and onto the top step. They go nose to tail down to turn 17 to the left of screen there. Van Hoopen looking to the outside, but once again, Solov doing a great job in defence. Dirksen closing it.
Trident resurgent with Van Hoopen. They were last in the team's tables last year, but Van Hoopen looking strong this season and now are challenging for the lead in this race. But we've seen it once, we're seeing it many, many times. As soon as the driver tries to make a move and it isn't successful, they are then under pressure. Now it is Van Hoopen who's under pressure from the yellow car, number 2, Dirksen behind once again. And look at Alex Dunn there. You can see the lap charts, the last 2 laps alone, he's gained half a second a lap on Van Hoopen in second place. More fighting between Herta. That's Belinsky who's got past Herta. Belinsky's on an absolute mission.
He is. Colton Herta is trying to now fighting back. They're both trying to get past Ollie Goethe, who's been putting up a real defence in that 11th place, still getting there. Yellow flag is out on the circuit. If that progresses, this could really close things up as they now head round towards that back straight. Seems to might have been in the final sector. I'm sure we'll get clarification very shortly. But in the meantime, Roman Belinsky looking in his mirror.
We're just about to say the DRS has been deactivated for down towards turn 17, but actually it's been reactivated because the circuit is clear. So we're going to be racing ahead. It looks like Interpupazak has come into the pits due to that issue with now Herta looking around the outside to retake that place on Belinsky. Look at John Bennett in the 25 there as well, trying to get involved.
Villagomez is in the pits, so I think if we put 2 and 2 together, he was the one that brought out the yellow flag and quickly aborted and came into pit lane as we see the cars now heading uphill. Once again, this is the most challenging sections of circuit I think we'll have on this Formula 2 calendar, and this then one of the longest straights we have on the calendar as well. We can see John Bennett in the Trident fighting away there in the middle of this battle, trying to get past Herta, but he is surrounded by high-tech drivers and now has Miata behind him.
Yeah, Miata looking to make a move. Defensive goes Bennett and also Belinsky. Great battling all the way up and down the field. Remember, this is for 11th, 12th, 13th and 14th place. Miata's in 15th. They're fighting like they're fighting for the win. But we still have that close battle up at the front of the field, which we'll cut back to shortly. There's Gomez out of this race. Probably a race to forget for Villagomez. Obviously after qualifying, back at the field and then out.
Yes, been a real weekend to forget so far, isn't it? And a really difficult race for the ART team as well. They're just running, circulating at the back of. They started from pit lane and Interpupazak in, but they will lead us away tomorrow, of course. Okay, lap 11 of 23. It's been a pretty hectic 11 laps so far, hasn't it? We've seen lots of challenges for the lead. 5 drivers all within DRS range of each other, and that really hasn't changed since we got started. But there's a mistake there from Dirks and Piers, and that could open the door for Verona.
Yeah, we've seen a few little errors from Dirks, and haven't we? You got up into second, but then Solov going through the... So that's a big mistake from Solov. He's going to have to slow down because he can't afford a gaining advantage by leaving the track penalty. Looks like he's just about going to be okay, but that potentially will be basically a strike from the race direction team because you can't cut through the track and then gain advantage, especially just before a long straight with DRS. The gap's still very much maintained though. Might get away with that one once, probably not twice. As Dirksen, another small error. So clearly not particularly happy with how that Invicta car is handling underneath him. And it's actually bringing Verone once again in the 22, the black with the orange highlights there as Verone is in the pits, in the pits. Verone is looking to get involved in this podium battle.
Shame for the Cyclone Interpupazak great first round. This was then a look at what we saw, Piers.
It looked like a very early bail from Solov there, which says to me that he's trying to carry a lot of speed in there. And he didn't lock up, no snap oversteer, so he realised he was going in too fast, decided to open the steering rather than damage the tyres. And he's actually managed to regroup and pull a gap of 8 tenths to Van Hoopen in second place now. Dirksen 7 tenths back, Verone another 7 tenths back. Don has actually fallen outside of DRS now, so I think everyone just starting to feel their Pirelli mediums go away from them at this stage and not wanting to damage them too much that they're going to fall away aggressive at the end of the field as we ride on board with home hero Colson Herta through the end of the first sector, sliding his way out through turn 8, right underneath the rear wing. Will have DRS on the blue dams of Belinsky ahead. A reminder, Belinsky up from the back of the grid. He's had a great race so far after challenging start to the weekend. Belinsky with no DRS to the car of Mini ahead, so he's going to have to go defensive. Herta isn't close enough to make a move this time, but Herta's very much aware that his mirrors are full of a Trident and then another high-tech and then an AIX as well, so if he doesn't make the move on Belinsky, someone's going to make the move on him.
Absolutely that.
Hello, Elizabeth.
I think this has also shown the importance of qualifying around here as well. We're seeing, if you like, DRS groups form. The lead group, although they're battling, are pulling away from the rest of the field. And it seems if you get caught in a battle here, it's very hard to escape from, as is being demonstrated by the likes of Colton Herta here.
Yeah, we head down again. DRS open for everyone apart from Belinsky. Herta looking one way, then looking the other. He'll struggle to go all the way around the outside of that last corner. What you can do is go in deep, get a straight exit, and then try and take another move with the back-to-back DRS zones that we have down the back straight and then over start finish. And Racy is Herta looking on the back of Belinsky. Belinsky immediately defensive. Herta looking to the outside. Now you can go around the outside of turn 1 if you can get ahead, but no. Belinsky defensive once again. So far a tactical masterclass from the Polish driver for the Dams Racing team. Dams Lucas Oil, they head their way through turns 3 and 4 towards turn 4 now. No way through at 3 and 4 and 5, but as we saw with Goethe earlier on, you can sneak up the inside.
Yep,
turn
9
6
a.m.
look close enough. Herting isn't that close though at this stage.
Belinsky defending from Colton Herta. That's a sentence he would not have expected to hear if you spoke to him last year, and especially in
9:08.
Miami as well, as we're back on board here with Colton Herta for Hi-Tech, trying to work their way.
Another big day of streaming, actually. I've got this, F1, GT World Challenge, Porsches, then back to F1 for qualifying.
An aggressive defence there from Roman Belinsky and Colton
Yeah, it's a
Herta.
big day.
Having to go to the outside, and Roman Belinsky's gone missing. Now rejoins the circuit at the next corner, and that will allow them through. Right, battle resumes for the lead. Lawrence Van Hoopen drives his way past the Campos of Nikola Solov, and it's Van Hoopen for Trident now leading the team who haven't won since Baku in 2024. Can Van Hoopen take them back there?
We didn't see how that started, but Van Hoopen was closer than he was at any point before, heading out to the straight. And also, look at Nico Barone right on the back of Joshua Dirksen there. Barone in the 22 looks to the outside of turn number 1. Can't get the move done around the outside, but Van Hoopen, great use of the DRS.
I still need to find a slot for that.
And then a small error through the apex.
I still need to find a slot for that.
Nicola Solov meant that he was not able to fight back down towards turn number 1. We head now through the middle, so the first sector once again, where generally the drive will string out a little bit because the combination of long corners means that the dirty air means you drop slightly off the back of the car in front, but then the DRS zones pull the cars back together. Van Hoopen into the lead. He looks comfortable, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's pulling the pin, isn't he? He's trying to break that 1 second barrier straight away. He's giving it absolutely everything with those Pirelli medium tyres to try and escape that DRS zone. Let's have a look at this battle between Herta and Belinsky.
Well, it's actually Herta and Bennett, isn't it? Bennett and the other of the Trident. A big outside front lock-up down towards turn 17. Somehow managed to get it stopped, but we also saw earlier that lap before we cut back to the leaders, Belinsky it was just slightly wide at turn 11.
I'm guessing you'll be here for the next 1 or 2 streams, and then you'll probably go to bed, I reckon.
That was Bennett going
Most likely.
But came to the front of the field. It's now 2 for the lead as we've dropped Dirksen.
Yellow flag is out.
Push mining.
We'll see if that develops into anything
Right.
further, but what we
Push
do know
mining.
right now is Dirksen has Nico Barone all over the back of him. It's the Argentine driver to the left of screen there, Paul Van Amersfoort Racing, trying to get himself onto the podium positions. Joshua Dirksen just holding on. Alex Dunn is back in the
I mean, it's
fight,
only
so
like
the
7
fight is
PM
still
for you, so.
continuing between our two leaders, Piers.
You never know. The experience of
Yeah, good
Nico
idea.
Barone, far less experience in single seaters than most of the drivers around him, comes from a sports car background, Le Mans 24-hour and World Endurance Championship winner. Maybe he's got that little something of tyre management that he's
Exactly,
learned
wow.
over the years of doing endurance stints.
Exactly
He's
7
able to
PM.
bring those tyres or coax them to the end of the race. However, the cut and thrust of sprint race battling, all the drivers around him are very much battle hardened in that regard, and none more so than big slide from Brody, none more so than the pink number 15 Rodin of Dunn right behind Barone now. We know Dunn doesn't hold punches, and we saw that in Australia, colliding with his teammate. I'm sure they've made up after that one, but he never holds back when there's a gap for his car.
You picked the perfect time to say it, Piers, as Barone decided to do a big old slide for us on the screen there, but pushing very hard as Nico Barone can see that podium just ahead of him. It's now 2 for the lead.
Yeah, 2 for the lead. That battling we've had for third place has dropped the 3 of Dirksen, Barone and Dunn off the back of the front 2. The gap is now 2
What
points.
time is my next stream scheduled for, Elizabeth? Can you check?
Looking towards the AIX.
Just because I might be running a bit
Calvi,
late.
who's managed to make. And there's been a bit of a change actually, because Herta's lost positions there. We didn't see how that started. Herta's actually lost a couple more positions since that error at the last corner. Maybe that lock-up's hurt his tyres. Is now off side by side. You won't be able to keep that position there, Mr. Fittipaldi, because you left the circuit. I imagine the race direction team will be having a look at that one, coming from an offside position, to give it in football terms.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
37
Solov
minutes,
back
yeah.
to the front.
Okay, so
Van Hoopen continuing this fight
9:50.
there, broken clear from the rest of the field. Many is past Stenchel once again, but this our full focus, the battle between our two leaders in this race.
Yeah, okay, so I have 9 minutes between. About 4 minutes between each stream.
The final lap.
This could be a bit of tactical foreplay, should we say, ahead of this battle towards the end of the race, because the DRS is so strong.
Just gotta hope that there's no delays to this race.
That's like he let him through. Van Hoopen, I know he looked like he just pulled out the way and said, through you go.
Didn't fight it, I think, potentially. So maybe they're sizing up quite how strong that DRS is in terms of what they might want to be, where they want to be on the final lap, because it doesn't matter where you start the final lap, it's where you end it. As once again we go side by side for the lead. This time Van Hoopen with DRS gets past through turn 10 down towards the heavy braking zone of turn 11. So back and forth racing for the lead. They've got a bit of a gap now, but Dirksen's managed to escape from Dunn, and also Barone actually has been dispatched by Dunn. So Barone has dropped off the back of that battle for the top 3 positions.
It's almost like Sola returned the favour there and said, through you go. This is turning into an interesting race in more ways than one.
After you, will we see Sola go back fast for the 3rd time in one lap? I wonder. A tear off now for our leader, the Trident of Van Hoopen. Was struggling to get his tear off, actually. Those tear offs is basically a piece of plastic, thin piece of transparent plastic that they have on their visors. And once again, Sola does make his way through that DRS, proving more and more powerful as the race goes on, I think. But those tear offs, they just tear off any rubber or oil or debris or dead bugs on your visor. Tear that off, get a clean view of the car ahead, or the open road if you're in the lead. Is now DRS open once again for Van Hoopen. This could be an all-time battle for the lead, I think. And what an amazing advertisement for Formula 2 here in North America, Chris.
Well, you did say about Herta losing places. I think this is where it happened.
Another lock-up, same side actually. Yeah, this is where
that
lost a couple more places. We saw him
medium
fighting
tyre.
higher up the order. He made the first lock-up down
Yeah,
towards
I'll be
turn 17.
commentating the next stream, so
Yeah, this was
just trying to save my voice.
I think it is.
So I've
we'll
got
see
like
it
nearly
past
2 hours of
second.
commentating, 3 hours after
No,
this.
actually, this is a different time, so Herta really struggling here.
Yeah, that was
Losing places. Hand over fist. And there's the Aston Martin livery of Mary Boyer, who's not had a weekend to shout about either, unfortunately, qualified 16th for Prema. And once again, Solov and Van Hoopen do battle. But as you can see, back of shot. Q yellow, Invicta, pink, Rodin. This was a battle of 5 for the lead, then it was a battle of 2. It's now become, or going to become, a battle of 4 as we hear. Unfortunately for Fittipaldi, he's got technical issues further down the order. He is in the pits for AIX.
Yeah, and he had been noted for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So we'll see if that develops into anything further, but he is now unfortunately out to the race with rapid suspension. Okay, this is starting to heat up once again out front. It hasn't really stopped, to be honest. Here we go.
Inside
Coming from Alex Dunn on Joshua Dirksen. He's played the patient game in this race, Piers, and is this now the time he executes all of that and gets his reward with a chance at the race lead?
6 laps to go as we come over the line now. Defensive. So yeah, that defensive posture from Solomon. A big move and a big double lock up from Dunn. Does he stay within track limits? No. So even if he gains that position, he would have to give it back. But unfortunately, a little bit clumsy from Dunn there. They've just about got in touch with the leaders, and that big move and mistake from Dunn has now opened that gap up once again. And look who's right behind Dunn. Barone in that very, very quick and slippery VAR in 5th place. Fittipaldi discussing with the team what's gone on there. He's using hand signals to distinguish where the circuit or what happened on the circuit. We didn't quite see that, but we come back to this battle for the lead. This is going down. An absolute treat. I bet all the people in the stands at the Miami circuit today are loving this.
It seemed a bit of an element of impatience there, didn't it, from Dunn? Big sense on Dirksen when you have 2 big DRS zones to follow, but I wouldn't say count them out yet, because once these 2 start to fight, and it's when, not if, then there could be 3 more drivers joining him right here. Dirksen seems to be really struggling now, and well, Fittipaldi has a 10-second penalty. He won't be able to serve it though, so that could transfer into a grid penalty for the next race. Do keep an eye on the updates on that one. But back to the battle between the lead, Van Hoopen closing in, and Dunn is now under pressure. He was on the attack last time he came down here, and now Nico Barone looking to make the move. You can see going to the inside there is Dunn, Barone there, and look at this, is turning into a real queue. We've got Stenchon there, Mini there, Beganovic is there as well. This battle going all the way back. I guess you can include Noel Leon, who's had the fastest lap as well.
Yeah, this is now nearly a 9-car battle for the top, places really. Leon in 9th place, only 6 seconds back from the lead, which is not a huge amount considering when you can get DRS within a second. We're right on board with the VAR driver of Nico Barone. A reminder, he's come from the last few years racing in GTs at Le Mans and the World Endurance Championship. He raced in GTP a little bit the last couple of years as well, in the hypercars and Porsches and such like. And now turning his hand back again to single-seater racing. A driver I raced against in single-seaters in the UK a fair few years ago, and his career has gone from strength to strength, and now fighting at the very pinnacle of single-seater preparations for Formula One. The Argentinian fans, I'm sure, will be enforced, but we look back to the Bulgarian and the Dutchman at the front of the field, the Bulgarian Red Bull sponsored driver Solov in the Campos at the front of the field. How impressive is this, Chris, from Campos? 1 lap between 2 cars in practice, top 10 in qualifying, leads the sprint race.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just, of course, Verona, for instance. It was the driver who's going to be starting in the first ever feature race pole position tomorrow in F2, Chris Miney. That's one you can have around the dinner table.
Don't want to hear about my racing. Chris, they've got a Formula 2 race to watch, and there's a battle for the lead. Let's get back to that as DRS open once again for Van Hoopen, but the closer of the battles looks like the pink Alpine livery BWT sponsored Rodin of Dunn, who's going to get ahead before we go breaking down to 17. Can he get it stopped? Just about. And good contact. Oh, bonk onto the back of Dirksen, goes Rone, and then leaves some big 11s out the last corner as well, laying down some of that Pirelli rubber. That won't be helpful towards his tyre management goals, as now the other Rodin in the black and white road in the 14, Stenshorn dives to the inside.
Big send there from Stenshorn. Is he going to be able to make it stick? Has to use the curb on the inside. Clean driving from the pair. They stay as they are. This is your battle for the last step on the podium. Who's going to take it, and which order will the two drivers ahead end up in? They are waiting for a last lap shootout. This one is going all the way to the wire for all 3 places on the first podium for Formula 2 here in Miami. Let's have a look back on the onboard with Verona.
So ahead, yeah, you've got that's Dirksen on the left in the yellow and Dunn on the right in the pink, and then Verona comes in at such a speed, and then Dunn very cleverly stops it on the apex to stop Dirksen getting the cutback, and it catches everyone else out with a Concertina. And a little dink on the front of Verona, no lasting damage though, is still these two at the front of the field to battle.
So this race has gone on forever. 20 laps.
They've got a nice little gap, so Solov will be looking at his mirrors and seeing that and thinking, I can defend without bringing too many into it.
It's gone on forever.
Now, at least.
Yeah,
just keep looking at the lap counter and looking at the time.
Depending on how intense this battle is. So the bell has rung once again between Solov and Van Hooten. Which will win the battle? Down towards turn 17 once more. DRS wide open for Van Hooten. And there is the race leader, the first F2 win just ahead of him. And he's going to drive his way to the outside. But Solov defending once again on that inside. And they stay as they are for now, Piers.
Yes, it's only going to be a matter of time though before Van Hooten in the 24 there with the red, white and blue colours manages to get a good exit and gets a run as once again Solov defends. But to me, that said, the fact that Van Hoopen didn't even posture to the inside says for now he's quite happy to sit there. If he really wanted to go through, I think he was close enough to have a look. So it's a bit of play ahead, I think, at this stage. You can see the live driver standings at the bottom of the field. That's why Solov wants so desperately to hold this lead, because he leads the championship, and a 10 points win in this sprint race would take him even further at the front of the field. This is your front two in the championship, and things finished as they are right now.
What an achievement this would be, not just by Nicolas Solov, but Campos Racing, who went into qualifying completely blind, and they've managed to get their driver Nicolas Solov in a position to go and fight for this race win. And he, as a driver, has had to hold off a huge queue of drivers, but he's not quite there yet. The Bulgarian defending now from Van Hoopen once again at the end of that back straight, and Van Hoopen just eyeing up where he's going to make that definitive move to take the win.
Okay, now we have to go. Now we have to go because June is behind us and we are behind 2.5. We are behind, so we have to go from now.
There's the go signal to Van Hoopen. Dunn is closing. He's almost caught a second down of them on this lap. He's absolutely flying.
It's going to be nail-biting and
to 3 in the battle.
It's going to be good.
Van Hoopen wants to win. He's going to go for it down to turn 17 now. Can he get the car stopped?
Oh, no, he can't. He can't.
Looks like Solov will get the run on the exit. We will be
He stays there. He's got the inside. No.
It's Solov just ahead as they head to turn 1.
Solov's going to have the DRS as well. He was behind at the detection point, so Van Hoopen's going to have to wait. But that was telling for me, don't play me a message. They said to Van Hoopen, Dunn is coming. Dunn is quick. You said he's gained nearly a second at last lap, Chris. He did gain a whole second on that last lap, or pretty much there or thereabouts. And Dunn will be seeing that these two at the front of the field are fighting hard and be licking his lips. Dunn, very, very strong at the end of races. We saw that last year. We're seeing it again this year. Even though he's been battling, he's got a good late race pace, and he was quick in qualifying. A reminder, I arguably should have been pole position if he hadn't made that
pushing that
mistake.
car
In the
so
last
hard.
couple of visually closer even. Again, this lap very strong to the first sector, which is a lot of corners. So clearly, the Pirelli mediums of Dunn's car in the road in third place, still in a decent shape.
It looked like Van Houten struggled out of turn 8 that time, but the DRS open, and here we go, it's back on. You have to keep an eye on that gap between Dunn and Van Houten. If that goes to 1 second or less, he will have that same DRS on the final lap, and we're just corners away from starting that final lap now.
Yeah, this is going to come down to a last lap shootout, Chris. I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be tactical. There's going to be late braking manoeuvres. Calling a winner out of this is going to be tricky because Dunn is oh so close to getting DRS, and I think if Van Houten can shape for a move or force solid defensive and solid defends early, then that means it's going to be a three-way fight as we head on to the last lap of the race down the outside. No, Van Houten can't get it done this time. Looking for a good exit.
Look at the gap for Dunn as well. It could come down, and that was defence from Solov and a chance for Van Houten to really line up what he's going to do on the final overtaking opportunity down to turn 17 next time. 1 to go in the sprint race here in Miami. Which of these three will take the checkered flag first? It's Solov leading from Van Houten, and Dunn, the outsider, closing in third place. And as you point out, Piers, he will have DRS on this final lap. Dunn's closed into just under a second, so 3 cars DRS for the back 2 of these that we're looking at. It will be Van Houten closing up to the back of Solov. And also Dunn will be closing that gap as well. So if they go side by side, Dunn will get involved. A good run through the first sector though from Solov means that he's got a bit of breathing room, but a good exit from Van Houten. Will he be close enough to make for a move down towards turn 11? He looks very close for Van Houten. Now this could be his opportunity to catch out Nicola Solov. Down towards turn 11. He's right behind the Bulgarian. Pulls to the outside now.
Van Houten takes the lead.
And he's into the race lead.
He's
Lock
locked up.
up.
He's going right. He's going right up. Look who's right there. Dunn's involved as well. Side by side through turn 12. Solov slots back in. 3 for the lead. 1 more DRS left to go. 3 more cornered. 3 more opportunities.
It's Van Houten there.
Dunn is right there.
He has on Solov, but it will be Solov and Dunn.
DRS wide open. DRS.
And he's going to have to try and defend for all he's worth. You can see him trying to break the toe, weaving down that back straight. But Solov getting closer. Once
Dunn's
again.
going to go for a move.
Is he going to be close enough to make a move? Yes, he is.
To the outside.
To the outside of Van
He's on,
Houten.
yeah.
Button on the brakes.
Oh.
Van Houten.
Way up the curve.
Into the corner.
Dunn.
On the curve. Trying to get the undercut on the
3
exit.
wide.
Is Alex Dunn will be 3 wide to the line, and it will be Campos Racing and Nicola Solov who take the lead here in Miami in a historic race, and one that will be remembered for a very long time.
Oh, that is
1/10 of a
so
second
good.
between Solov and Van Houten. Alex Dunn in third, and what a performance from that team.
That is so good.
Campos Racing have
Oh my
nothing,
god.
nothing in practice to being the very first winners in Miami.
Solov stationary at the start of
Wow.
practice. Wins the sprint race. A superlative final few laps. That was box office stuff and a real great advertisement for Formula 2 here at the Miami International Autodrome. I hope that means we get to see more and more of this in years to come. And also, we've still got a sprint feature race to come tomorrow, which is going to be even more things to look forward to.
That is one of the best Formula 2 races I have ever seen, hands down. 3 for the lead. Coming out of the final braking zone, it was a drag race to the line, but the Bulgarian won it first.
Yes! Yes! Yes, mate! Yes! Yes! Oh my god, man. What a stressful race. Honestly, yeah, good job, man. That was intense.
I mean, it was stressful watching Piers. I can imagine what it was like in his car. He did a superb job there, didn't he? A lot of defensive, a lot of tactical racing as well, and was in the right place to go and take the win. Let's watch that last lap back.
So this is from turn 10, DRS, the first overtake on that last lap where Van Houten shaped to the outside, used the DRS overspeed to get ahead, then went straight to the inside to defend. Yeah, then had a solid
Locked
run
up, went
right
straight
here,
on.
which gave sort of a look around the outside of 12.
Solov
There's no way
around the
to
outside,
this is
and
a
then
move. We go
Houten.
outside braking on the rubbered line. How many times have we seen people go around the outside of that corner? Not very many, but fair play.
Pretty wide.
They're giving Solov space.
Dunn was up the curb.
On the curb, sideways. Tried to get involved, couldn't quite get it across the line in the lead there, but Solov, definitive move, bold on the brakes, got it done. Van Hoopen, fair play for giving him racing room. Brilliant race. Love that, and look what it means to the Campos team.
You can see Adrian Campos Jr. there celebrating with the team. They would have been watching that last lap through their fingers, but their driver Nicolas Solov comes out to take back-to-back wins in Formula 2. He was the feature race winner down under last time out, and now the sprint race winner here in Miami. And as you said, Van Hoopen there, so close to the win, but good respect for racing from him in the end. He takes second, and his win is only a matter of time now. And a great recovery. Alex Dunn brought himself back into that fight as well, and a podium position for the Irish.
Oh,
Just one of the best of the line. Good for there. Yeah. Good point. It's really good for
Lawrence Van Hoopen finishing second in that one. My hands, my palms are sweating. And I'm lucky I wasn't commentating that race, otherwise I would have no voice. We're not too far away though from the F1 sprint getting underway. That's less than 20 minutes away now. But yeah, what a race from F2. That was absolutely insane. And if that's what we're expecting in the feature race, then flipping heck, that's going to be amazing. Of course, feature race about an hour after the F1 Grand Prix has finished. So catch it then. It'll be from 7:30 p.m. my time. So about 10 hours from now is when the feature race will be happening. Tomorrow, though, on Monday. What a race. What a race that was for the FIA Formula 2 World Championship there. I'm going to wrap up the stream, just so that we can stay on time. Plus, I need to eat before the F1 sprint, so I'm going to wrap up the stream there. We're not too far away now from the F1 sprint getting underway. Should be fun, should be exciting. And it is Lando Norris on pole position. Can he go from lights out to the checkered flag? We're going to have to wait and find out. I'll be back in just under 20 minutes for the F1 sprint. Catch you then. Bye-bye.